What's up, ladies and gentlemen, this is TDS Darth Wage back at you with another video, and in this video I want to show you which star cards are the best to use on Obi Wan Kenobi in Heroes vs. Villains, Galactic Assault, and in Capital Supremacy. So the first star card we have is Jedi Resilience, in which increases Obi-Wan's maximum health regeneration by 25 to 100 at epic tier. So as some may know, Obi-Wan's max health regen is 300. His health regen rate is 50 health per second, and after taking a hit, his health regen delay is 4.5 seconds. So what this star card does is increase your maximum health regen from 300 to 400. In other words, you can take 4 hits from a lightsaber and still regen back to full health. So is this star card worth using, and if so, in which game modes? Well, to be honest, I think this star card is a universal star card, in which means this star card is good in every game mode on Battlefront 2 because it increases your survivability. In Heroes vs. Villains, you gain 100 health back for every kill, and in Galactic Assault and Capital Supremacy, you gain 25 health back for every trooper kill. So even if you do get critically wounded, you will always regen 400 health if you do not die. So yes, this is a very good star card to use in any game mode. Now moving on. The next star card on the list is called Perfect Defense, in which reduces the stamina drain for blocking both lightsaber and blaster attacks by 10% to 40% at epic tier. So as we all may know, Obi-Wan's lightsaber form is Form 3 Surisu, in which is a pure defensive form of combat, in which requires a huge amount of stamina to block an opponent's hits until the target runs out of stamina, leaving themselves vulnerable to attack by being unable to defend themselves. So is this star card worth using, and if so, in which game modes? Well, I think this is one of Obi-Wan's most essential star cards to use in any game mode because it is part of his canon lightsaber form. You cannot utilize Form 3 Surisu without having a lot of stamina, and as we all know, Obi-Wan is capable of having the highest stamina cost reduction in the game, and this also falls under the category of survivability. You cannot survive if you cannot defend yourself. So yes, this is a good star card to use on Obi-Wan in any game mode. The next star card we have on the list is called Give It All, in which increases the range of the all-out push ability by 0.50 to 2 meters at epic tier. So is this star card worth using, and if so, in which game modes? In my own personal opinion, I cannot recommend this star card primarily because it is way too situational. It's best used against 2 characters in the game, one being Emperor Palpatine and the second being Boba Fett. And even then, the extra 2 meters of range is hardly required to hit them because the base range is already good enough to hit most targets. Another thing to factor in is that you can have this star card at the sacrifice of survivability or stamina, in which is a key to playing as Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is not an aggressive attacker, he is more focused on defending himself. One more thing to note is that the cooldown timer of this ability after using it is 14 seconds. So for 14 seconds you have to rely on defending yourself after only doing 150 to 180 damage, and it is also unlikely that you will need this star card to hit Boba Fett or Emperor Palpatine. So I would avoid using this in Heroes vs. Villains, and as for Galactic Assault and Capital Supremacy, I do not see this star card as something you will need very much. Yes, the maps are bigger, but once again, the base area of effect is already good enough as is, so no, I would not use this star card in any game mode. So the next star card we have on the list is called Think It Over, in which increases the restrictive mind trick duration by 0.50 seconds to 1.40 seconds at epic tier. So is this star card worth using, and if so, in which game modes? Well, before I give an actual answer, I want to take the time to let you know some information about Obi-Wan's mind trick. So first, what does Obi-Wan's mind trick do? It prevents targets from using abilities, right? and which is never a bad thing because that can be used as a window of opportunity to make them back off while you regen health and stamina, or it can be used as a window of opportunity to rush the targets in front of you. The mind trick duration is 5.5 seconds, and with the Think It Over star card increasing it by 1.40 seconds, you can prevent targets from using abilities for a total of 6.9 seconds. That's almost 7 seconds that the enemy team cannot use abilities. This is excellent for teamwork and in a 1v1 situation because it helps them rush the enemy team, and in a 1v1 situation you have a 4.5 health regen delay, so in most cases if a target has been hit with a mind trick, they will back off until the mind trick duration is gone. And the mind trick lasts for 5.5 to 6.9 seconds, so what I am trying to say is that this is good for making the player you are facing to back off while you regen health and stamina. I want everyone to keep in mind that the Jedi are more defensive than they are aggressive, so with that being said, I can recommend this star card to be used primarily when you have a full team in Heroes vs. Villains, but I do not see this star card as essential in Galactic Assault or Capital Supremacy. I see this star card as optional for all game modes, as in, it's not bad or the best star card for Obi Wan. So the next star card we have on the list is Safeguard, in which reduces all stamina costs by 2% every time you block 5 blaster shots, every time you block 2 abilities, or every time you block a lightsaber attack. The maximum stamina cost reduction at epic tier is a 40% reduction to all stamina costs. So is this star card worth using, and if so, in which game modes? So once again, we find ourselves looking at another star card that increases the character's capability of defending himself, in which all plays the role of Form 3 Sarisu, encouraging more defense than offense, allowing the targets to tire themselves out while you remain calm and focused, patiently waiting for the right moment to strike. One thing I want to point out is that this also reduces your stamina cost for attacking as well, and as some of us may know, without any stamina cost reductions, Obi Wan can attack 10 times with his lightsaber before he runs out of stamina. But with this star card, at its maximum stack, allows Obi Wan to attack 14 times with his lightsaber, and if his star card is combined with the perfect defense star card, you can block up to 25 lightsaber attacks and deflect up to 46 blaster shots. I would also like to mention that Obi-Wan's stamina regen delay is only 1 second if you still have stamina remaining while blocking. And he also has a 3-second stamina regen delay when fully out of stamina. So yes, I highly recommend this star card for every game mode in Battlefront 2. Now moving on. The next star card on the list is called Quickened Focus, in which reduces the charge up time of the all-out push ability by 0.20 to 0.50 at epic tier. So is this star card worth using, and if so, in which game modes? Well, to be honest, I think this star card hurts the character more than it helps the character, and yes, it does speed up the ability, and which can be helpful in some situations, but it's not needed, and here is why it hurts the character more than it helps the character. So the duration of the ability lasts for 1.2 seconds. So if you reduce the ability by 0.50, you get a 0.7 charge time, in which I understand why some may think this sounds great, but what they are not thinking about is the 80% damage reduction that comes with this ability. So say you manage to nearly run out of stamina and decide to use the all-out push ability. But at this point, everyone is mostly blocking until the push animation ends. Now, as I said, you are almost out of stamina, and now the enemy team is just waiting for that push to disappear so they can attack you all over again. Now, this star card reduces the duration from 1.2 to 0.7. It only takes 1 second to regenerate stamina, and the original duration is 1.2 seconds with a 80% damage reduction. So what I am trying to say is, yes, it does speed up the animation, but it also gives you 0.7 seconds to take advantage of an 80% damage reduction, and also 0.7 seconds to take advantage of a 1 second stamina regen. So that's why I am saying it hurts the character more than it helps the character, because it takes away from the entire goal of Obi Wan, in which is to be defensive. When Obi Wan is low on stamina, take advantage of the 80% damage reduction for 1.2 seconds to get all of your stamina back. This star card actually decreases your chances of survivability, so with that being said, I cannot recommend this star card for any game mode. So the next star card we have on the list is called Forward, in which increases the damage of Obi-Wan's defensive rush by 10 to 40 extra points of damage at epic tier. So is this star card worth using, and if so, in which game modes? After a lot of testing, I cannot recommend this for heroes versus villains because, once again, you are sacrificing survivability and defensive capability for a slight increase in damage. Now, usually I would say go for the star cards that benefits your ability with the fastest recharge time, and this ability only has a 10-second cooldown timer. However, this ability has way more cons than pros. When you use this ability, you get no damage reduction, leaving you vulnerable to Emperor Palpatine's lightning attacks, and you can easily be taken out of the defensive rush ability with enemy abilities such as Darth Maul's choke throw, Vader's choke, Kylo's pull, Kylo's freeze, Iden's stun droid, Palpatine's electrocute, and Dooku's lightning stun. So why would I focus my star cards on an ability so easily negated? So no, I will not recommend this star card for heroes versus villains, but I will say this star card truly shines in Galactic Assault and Capital Supremacy because this star card turns most trooper classes in those modes into a one-hit kill. So do not use this in heroes versus villains, but it is a good star card in Galactic Assault and Capital Supremacy. So moving on. The next star card we have on the list is called More Doubts, in which increases the range of Obi-Wan's mind trick ability by 20% to 50% at epic tier. So is this star card worth using, and if so, in which game modes? To be 100% honest, I don't see this as a good star card for any game mode. In Heroes vs. Villains, if you have this combined with the Think It Over star card, you are sacrificing survivability and defensive capability only to increase the range and duration of an ability that has a 21-second cooldown timer that only prevents the affected targets from using abilities for 5.5 to 6.9 seconds, and after that you will have little to no defensive capabilities. So if you get rushed, you will either be forced to die or run away. And in Galactic Assault and Capital Supremacy, you are sacrificing the damage needed to one-shot kill most enemies, in exchange to prevent standard troops from using abilities against you, when most of them are just going to shoot you anyway. There is no logic in using this star card, and it feels like this star card is a waste of a card slot for all game modes. So now, here we are on the final star card called Critical Deflection, in which increases the damage of blaster shots that have been deflected and redirected back at the attacker by 20 to 50 points of extra damage at epic tier. So is this star card worth using, and if so, in which game modes? I will not recommend this star card for heroes versus villains, primarily because there is hardly anyone who uses blaster characters on the villain's team. You mostly encounter all lightsabers, or you encounter 3 lightsabers and 1 blaster, or 3 lightsabers and Emperor Palpatine. And since Defensive Rush does not redirect Palpatine's lightning back at him, I see this star card as way too situational to be effective in Heroes vs. Villains. In Heroes vs. Villains, as I stated previously, Obi Wan can be taken out of the Defensive Rush ability way too easily. So this is almost 100% a waste of a star card in Heroes vs. Villains. In Galactic Assault and Capital Supremacy, I can't recommend this star card either, and yes, I know there are a lot of people who shoot at you in these bigger game modes, but I still feel that the forward star card is a way better star card in this game mode, because when you use this ability in the bigger game modes, you know that this will hit them no matter what. But the deflections of blaster shots with the Defensive Rush ability do not always hit the attacker. Sometimes the blaster shots is only deflected and is not always redirected back to the attacker, in which turns this into a gamble based on chance, as in, it may or may not work as intended, turning this into another situational star card that I cannot recommend for any game mode. So there you have it, people. That is my list for the best star cards to use on Obi Wan Kenobi. So, in Heroes vs. Villains, the top star cards will be Jedi Resilience, Perfect Defense, and Safeguard. Or, you can use Perfect Defense, Think It Over, and Safeguard. And as for Galactic Assault and Capital Supremacy, the top star cards are, once again, Jedi Resilience, Perfect Defense, and Safeguard. Or you can use Jedi Resilience, Perfect Defense, and Forward. So, the video seems to be a little bit longer than intended, so what we can do is we can observe what's going on until this video is over, or you can go ahead and end the video right now. The decision is yours. But you know, everybody wanted to know my star card list for other heroes and villains, so I decided to go ahead and do Obi Wan's, because I know there are a lot of people struggling to play as Obi Wan in this game right now. Like, there's a lot of people who do not understand how he works. There's a lot of people confused about how to actually, you know, play as him. And a lot of people only want to get very aggressive with a character that's, you know, entire playstyle is based on defense than it is offense. So I hope this video, you know, I hope some people find this video helpful in some kind of way. Maybe you can let me know what you think about the video in the comments section. Let me know what you think about, I said, for the star cards. And yeah, so basically that's going to be all for this video. If you like the video, then please give me a like, you know, comment, subscribe, and share the video, and I will basically catch you in my next video.
A surprisingly civilized climax, as Obi Wan Kenobi proves once more why triumph is his specialty.